Good morning, man. Back at y'all with another one, man. Yeah, we here early with this one, y'all. Real early with it. So tap on in, man. For all my people that's up early, I think we're gonna get our early morning crowd back with this one. You know, mm-hmm. Tap on in for the show, man. It's gonna be great. You know what I'm saying? For sure, for Sugadale. You already know now. Hey, homie, this is how it goes down. So what we're going to talk about right now is foundational Black Americans, Black Indians, and a long list of things like that, man. Dr. Claude Anderson, I got a clip from Tyreek Nasheed, and you got a lot of foundational Black Americans who claim to be Choctaw, who claim to be Cherokee, claim to be Creek, or whatever tribe they claim to be, right? What you guys got to understand is a lot of those tribes, the so-called civilized tribes, participated in slavery, meaning that the white man gave them trinkets, gave them money, told them if you helped us to capture blacks, we'll give you some type of reward. You know, the same thing that they did with the Sambos and the Mammies, telling the Sambos and the Mammies, like, if you report these blacks, you could live in a house. I'll give you this, I'll give you that. So what a lot of our people have to understand is this: a lot of us want to connect to these tribes so much. And a lot of you guys don't realize that a lot of those so-called civilized tribes played a major role when it comes to enslaving blacks, right? And we're gonna get into the facts. Now, my thing is this: I don't waste time arguing with people about history because this is why. A lot of people can't even fix their personal life, and we're talking about things that's staring them right in the face. If this person can't fix their own life, their personal life now, do you really believe that they're smart enough to figure out something that happened 200, 300 years ago and you wasn't there? You don't know anybody who was living. You don't know anybody that's living now that was actually there. So if people misconstrue information, I'm talking about stuff that happened 5 years ago, 3 years ago. What you think they're going to do with a story that took place 200 and 300 years ago? Come on, guys. You guys know what I'm saying is true. Listen, if something happens right now, if something happens this week, 4 months from now, you're going to hear four different versions of the same story. And we're talking about something that happened a month ago. So imagine how many times people then twisted these stories when something then took place like 300 and 400 years ago. People lie about stuff that happened a week ago and they misconstrue that. And you're going to hear 4 to 5 different versions of that story. My thing is this: I like history, but I don't argue with people about history because you wasn't there. You don't know anybody that's living today who was there. So a lot of this is second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 20 hand information. Now, some people say, well, I have common sense. I can connect the dots. Okay, if you're so smart, how come you can't fix your life right now? You got problems staring you in the face right now. You can't even fix that. You mean to tell me that you're smart enough to figure out some stuff that happened 300 years ago, but you can't fix the things that's taking place in your life right now? This is why I don't waste my time arguing about that. It's like, hold on, you're not making no money. It's a pointless argument because you're not making money talking about this. Now, I understand the scholars, the people who get paid to talk about this. That actually makes sense. But you got a lot of these hoteps and you know, people who believe that they're people who think they're historians, right? And they're not getting paid for any of this. They hop online to argue with people. Their main goal is to win an argument. And a lot of these people are struggling in real life, but their main goal is to win an argument. You know, hit the like button if you haven't already. Let me read some of y'all comments. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to hey man, listen, homie. People twist stories that took place a week ago. So just imagine how they're gonna twist a story that took place 300 and 400 years ago, 100 years ago. Come on, y'all. Let's use common sense here. Right? The Choctaw Nation, the Cherokees, the Creeks, a lot of these people played a major role when it comes to enslaving blacks in this country, because the white man told them, if you give us this, if you enslave, listen, if you capture these blacks, we got a reward for you. So a lot of them got in good favor with the white folks by turning us in, right? Some people gonna say, well, not all, not all. Okay, well, a whole lot of them did. A whole lot of them did. They fought side by side with the white man to enslave the blacks in this country. That is a fact, homies. Make sure that you guys bless the like button. It ain't nothing. Drop the Cash App in the chat. You know, all your Cherokees and Choctaw, they're gonna get mad about this, but I don't care. I know. Listen, homie, I studied enough about history. Listen, I don't pretend to know everything about history because I wasn't there, so I don't know everything. But I know some things. I'm not one of these individuals who's too smart for their own good. Some of these people are too smart for their own good, to the fact that some people are so smart to the point to where they're dumb. Have you guys ever met somebody that was too smart for their own good and they thought they knew a lot of things that they really didn't know, and they will argue you down pretending like they know something? Listen, I had this person tell me, well, I know this because I went to school for it. You ain't got to go to school to know that. All you got to do is pick out the right books and study that. You ain't got to go to somebody's school to learn that. You know, you could read these books for yourself and study this information on your free time. Now, that's cool if you went to school for that, right? But just because you went to school for it doesn't mean that you know more than a person who studied the same thing for years. You know, some people have done their own personal research. You know, they took time out of their day to study these things. So you don't need to go to a school to learn certain things about history. All you got to do is read the right books, right? You know how some people claim to be self-educated, where you got a lot of people who are self-educated. I know a lot of people who are self-educated that has way more knowledge of history than a lot of people who claim to, you know, well, I went to school for this. So what? School is only going to teach you so much. I know guys in prison who are smarter than a lot of people who went to certain colleges. Why? Because a lot of these prisoners had all the time in the world to study this. I know prisoners who didn't read hundreds of books about history, right? And that's not to say that everything in those books are accurate, because if somebody rewrite history, they're gonna lie about a lot of things. So a lot of that information in these books, some of that information is not accurate. So you have to understand that too. So if the white man rewrote history, if the white man said, you know, we're gonna rewrite history, that means that a lot of this stuff is indoctrination, is not education, because the white man decided that he was going to rewrite history to muddy the waters. And that's exactly what's been going on in this country for centuries. Make sure that you guys bless the like button, man. Tap on in with your player partner, man. Is Red Supreme. Make sure that you support the stream in a major way. Salute. Shout out to my man Scoop. Shout out to my man Scoop in the building. You heard? You heard? Shout out to Desmond Hill for supporting that Cash App. You know, I got a lot of love for you, my brother. Boom. Now let's get to this content though in a major way. Oh boy.
For then they said you get the $25. They said bring it back. You can bring back his scalp with his ears attached.
Now, Dr. Claud Anderson is going to break down a lot of this stuff, and Dr. Anderson is a real source of information. You know, and I read about this stuff myself, but when I heard Dr. Claud Anderson say it, I said, "Doom, you know what? I got to do something on this." So, Dr. Umar calls you guys pretendians. You know, pretendians. You know, I don't knock nobody's beliefs. I don't knock anybody's history. But what I'm saying is there's holes in everybody's argument. Why do I say that? Because you wasn't there. This is fifth hand and sixth hand information. You wasn't there. But I'm gonna be quiet for a minute, man. I want y'all to hear what Dr. Claud Anderson said to Boyce Watkins about the Choctaws and the Creeks and a lot of these native tribes assisted the white man when it comes to enslaving us. The white man rewarded them for capturing us. So if the white man owe reparations, a lot of these native tribes owe you reparations as well. If you assisted the white man in enslaving foundational Black Americans, then I agree with Dr. Claud Anderson. The Cherokees owe blacks, the Choctaws owe blacks, the Creeks owe blacks. If you assisted the white man in slavery and then you got paid from the white man compensated you, then the Choctaws, the Creeks, and the Cherokees, they owe reparations to foundational Black Americans too, since they benefit from slavery, since they was paid off by the white man. Let's get into this content though. Y'all ain't heard me.
Go down and bring them back, as I said, getting paid $25 for every Black slave, runaway slave they brought back to the master. They couldn't bring him back physically, but then they said, you get the people down and bring them back, as I said, getting paid $25 for every Black slave, runaway slave they brought back to the master. They couldn't bring him back physically, but then they said, you get the $25. They said, bring him back. You can bring back his scalp with his ears attached. You get $20. They told him.
Dr. Anderson, can I hope you don't mind me.
Jump right in.
Real quick, because I kind of need us to like process this in slow motion, what you just said. I don't know about everybody else, but I need to hear this again, because the thing is that the suffering that our people have gone through in this country is so deep that sometimes we gloss over it. You know, we just talk about it, and it's like too many facts to mention that we just kind of,
I'll slow down for you.
No. Yeah, no. You keep going.
Yeah, a lot of these native tribes have aided and assisted the white man to enslave blacks. So if you got smoke for the white man, then you gotta listen. A lot of people say, okay, we got smoke for the Africans, they sold us. Okay, a lot of these Choctaws and Cherokees assisted the white man to enslave your ass. Do you have the same smoke for them? I'm just saying. Because I know a lot of Black people who want to be part of these native tribes so bad, and these native tribes have been infiltrated, bro. They've been infiltrated. They've been compromised. They assisted the white man because they wanted the acceptance from the white man. They wanted the white man to get off their behind. So in order to get the white man off of their behind, they assisted the white man when it comes to enslaving Black Americans here in the United States. Well, maybe if I ally with the white man and help the white man to capture some of these blacks, the white man will get off of our back. And that's exactly what a lot of these native tribes did. You dig?
But I want to repeat my version of what I heard just now in the last 45 seconds come out of your mouth. If a white person killed a Black slave for acting up, the insurance company reimbursed them for having to kill. I mean, that's very deep. That the insurance company would reimburse you for losing your property.
That's right. That was property.
Which you can't even do that with an animal. Like you can't even kill you can't even say my dog got out of line. I killed my dog. Give me money for my dog. So we were lower than a dog. Like we were lower than animals. I can't even think of anything that there is. I mean, can you tell me, guys, if you can think of anything that I could, like, if I have something that acts out of line and I kill it and I get reimbursed. Not like forget getting arrested and punished, but I get reimbursed. And it seems like that connects to how people respond, when police kill Black people, when anybody kills a Black person, and then the other thing that got me, you said something right after that too. Oh, the Indians, right? A lot of us, went to school and were taught that the Indians were allies, that the Indians were helping Black people. We say it again?
You've been watching those John Wayne movies, so somehow thinking that Blacks and Indians are together. That's one of the biggest myths that have been perpetuated in the society. Slavery could have never existed in this country and been maintained without the full support and involvement of the major civilized tribes in America. The reason they were called
civilized tribe aided and assisted the white man to enslave Blacks in this country. But a lot of people don't want to hold these native tribes accountable. because a lot of black people want to be, they want to have this connection. And someone will say, well, I do have the connect, whatever. Say whatever you want to say. Maybe you do. But let's be real. A lot of these so-called civilized tribes played a major role when it comes to enslaving blacks in this country. Why? Because they assisted the white man. There was a reward. When they assisted the white man, there was a reward for that. It was a big reward for that. So there was an incentive. They were incentivized to capture blacks and turn these blacks over to the white man, because the white man told them, we're going to give you money. We're going to give you this if you help us to capture these blacks. And on top of that, they figure like if they did that, that would get the white man off of their back. So if I can turn these Negroes in to get the white man off of my back, and the white man is going to give me a reward for that, well, hell, man, I'm going to do it. They were pretty much incentivized to do it. So if you're going to hold a white man accountable, you got to hold these native tribes accountable as well. They played a major role in capturing you, enslaving you. They fought side by side with the white man. A lot of these so-called civilized tribes did.
That blacks and Indians were together.
The other thing that got me, you said something right after that too. Oh, the Indians, right? A lot of us, went to school and were taught that the Indians were allies, that the Indians were helping black people. We say it again?
You've been watching those John Wayne movies, so somehow thinking that blacks and Indians are together. That's one of the biggest myths that have been perpetuated in the society. Slavery could have never existed in this country and been maintained without the full support and involvement of the major civilized tribes in America. The reason they were called civilized is because they were taught to cease being savages and to settle down and start become farmers, clear the land, have slaves clear the land, raise crops just like a white man would. And once you do that, you support the enslavement institution itself. And we would give you some land. In that land, we would give you clothes, food, guns, and classify you as civilized. Now, 5 civilized tribes were made up of the Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Creek Seminole Indians. And those were the 5 civilized tribes, and all of them signed up to fight with the South to maintain slavery. The first law was enacted in 1516 for the New York Treaty, and every treaty contained a provision saying support slavery and you'll be rewarded and compensated. That's why those
support slavery, you will be compensated if you help us to capture these Negroes. And that's what a lot of the civilized tribe did. That's what they did. Right? Now, some of you people want to be connected to these tribes so bad, and a lot of these tribes sold you out. What I notice is a lot of black people who claim, a lot of foundational black Americans who claim to be Cherokee, Chickasaw, or, Choctaw, or whatever it is, right? Any one of these civilized tribes, right? A lot of them have issues with Africans, but if you have issues with Africans, surely you should have issues with these civilized tribes, because these civilized tribes assisted the white man as well. So no smoke for the civilized tribes, even though they assisted the white man to keep you enslaved, huh? Listen, I'm a foundational black American. I don't need to be connected to no Africans, no Native Indians. I am FBA. We're different. We're not the same as those people hundreds of years ago. I identify with FBA, and that's what it is today. We're going to run with that. All of those civilized tribes, they were compromised. See, FBA is not compromised. Why? Because FBA wasn't coined by a white man. FBA was coined by a black man, a foundational black American. So to be real with you, all these tribes that existed before slavery, they've been compromised. They've been dominated and conquered by the white man. They are compromised. A lot of that history is they didn't muddy the waters with a lot of that history. A lot of these civilized tribes assisted the white man. It's a big old mess, man. So that's why I rock with foundational black Americans. If you want to be a Cherokee, a Choctaw, a Creek, go ahead and be that if that makes you feel better. I'm not knocking you. But what I'm saying is this: if you're going to be real, then you got to hold the civilized tribes accountable as well, because they did assist the white man when it comes to enslaving blacks in this country. I'm just giving you the historical facts.
5 civilized tribes, and keep in mind all those smaller tribes were underneath those 5 tribes. You might have had the Iroquois Indians. And those were the 5 civilized. We give you some land, not land, but we give you clothes, food, guns, and classify you as civilized. Now, 5 civilized tribes were made up of the Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Creek Seminole Indians. And those were the 5 civilized tribes, and all of them signed up to fight with the South to maintain slavery. The first law was enacted in 1516 for the New York Treaty. And every treaty contained a provision saying support slavery and you'll be rewarded and compensated. That's why those 5 civilized tribes, and keep in mind, all those smaller tribes were underneath those 5 tribes. You might have had the Iroquois and the Apache and the Sioux and other tribes underneath, and the Blackfeet. Those were smaller tribes. The big tribes were the 5 civilized tribes: Choctaw, Cherokee, Creek, and Indians. Period. They were the big ones. They signed. That's why in the end of the Civil War, when the war broke out for the Civil War, those tribes signed agreements, written agreements with the South, saying we will fight to the death to maintain slavery because we have accepted your status of being a civilized tribe and being associated with you all, identified with you, and getting benefits from you, and that we own slaves. We are slave traders and slave owners, and therefore, and slave chasers. We have chased down your slaves for. We're going to fight now to maintain our level of income and status by helping you maintain slavery. So all those 5 civilized tribes fought with the South to maintain slavery. As a matter of fact, when the Civil War ended, the last general to give up.
So all you black people who identify with these civilized tribes, they sold you out, man. They've been compromised by the white man. White supremacists infiltrated these tribes centuries ago. Huh? I don't need to be none of that, homie. I'm a foundational Black American. I rock with that because FBA is not compromised. The civilized tribes, they were compromised. And some of you people might not like that, but I don't care about your feelings. I'm here to give you the facts.
A general called Stan Waite. General Stan Waite was a Cherokee, and he was the last one to give up. But in the meantime, when the Civil War broke out in 1860s, when it ended in 1864 and 1865, the Indians also follow what's called a black flag policy. The black flag policy says if you catch a black, if any of these blacks decide to fight back and join the Union Army, when you catch him, kill him immediately and instantly. Never take a black person prison. Now, you could take a white person prison if he's with the Union Army. That's why you had Andersonville, South Carolina, where they had all these prisoners out of Union soldiers down in prison. But they say you can never take a black. So no Southerners, no white Southerners in the Confederate Army, nor any Indians would ever take a black person as a prison. They slaughtered them, and they killed them right out. They would throw them in the river, something like that, and on the heads and shoot them in the head while they were floating in the water. So I don't know why. So black folk bought that myth. That's about. Well, they were our friends, and and they've been mistreated, maltreated like black folk. That's a lie.
Man, you look at a lot of these native tribes today, they don't like foundational Black Americans. A lot of them don't like you now. They've been indoctrinated to go against you. You go to some of these reservations, they don't want you over. They don't like you. The same way we can say a lot of Africans don't like you, and that's true. A lot of Africans don't like FBA. A lot of these native tribes, most of them didn't like FBA either. You might have your exception to the rule here and there with a particular tribe, but let's be real. The 5 civilized tribes assisted the white man when it comes to enslaving you and your ancestors. The white man gave them trinkets. The white man rewarded them if they turned you in. If they assisted the white man when it comes to your enslavement, when it comes to capturing you, they were incentivized to do so. White man said, we're going to give you land. We're going to get off of your back. We're going to take our foot off of your neck. We'll take our foot off of your neck as long as you help us to enslave these blacks. And as long as you help us to capture these blacks, we'll take our foot off of your neck. So once the civilized tribes, once they realized that, and why were they labeled the civilized tribes? They were labeled the civilized tribes because they assisted the white man and his agenda when it comes to capturing and enslaving blacks. That's why they were labeled civilized. Now, the ones who didn't, they weren't considered civilized because they never assisted the white man, so they never had the title civilized. But the civilized tribes assisted the white man 100%. That's the only reason that the white man started to call them civilized, because, okay, you agree with us, you're going to assist us, you guys are the civilized tribes. And a lot of you guys want to identify with these people. Let me tell you something. The 5 tribes were compromised. Anytime you assist a white man in his agenda, you are compromised, my friend.
That's a lie. Indians have been in with the Federal Indian Bureau. Each one gets on an average of about $28,000 a year in income from the Federal Indian Bureau every year. And
yeah, all these people who claim to be Cherokee, Choctaw, they're going to get mad, but I don't care. The only reason you were called the 5 civilized tribes is because you assisted the white man. Anytime you assist a white man, you are compromised. Let's be real. But the white man paid the civilized tribes. They gave them money. But guess what? The white man ain't going to give you money. Now, some people say, well, that's because we call ourselves black. Man, you know what, man? Believe whatever you want to believe. You can identify with whatever you want to identify with. But the civilized tribes assisted the white man, hands down. There's no way you can get around that.
Specific example, I want to go down to the Seminole Indians in South, down south, right now in the South. Like Florida, for instance, that based on what they got in terms of ownership in those gambling casinos and some of those major restaurants, that they average out about $135,000 each every year, and plus and for years they didn't pay any taxes. They had, and while it was against the law for a black person to go to school, the government made Indians to go to school. Think about that. Where black slaves were denied the right to go to school, anybody caught trying to educate a black man would be subject to a $100 fine and 39 lashes on his ass with a whip to be caught teaching a black person to read and write and do math. But by the same token, an Indian was mandated. They built Indian schools. They had to go to school. And yet they now talking about, we've been beat up like black. Well, that's a damn lie. You slavehold blacks. And then when the Civil War finally ended, that in this country, after 2 years after the Civil War ended, the Choctaw and Choctaw Indians were still holding about 12,000 and 15,000 blacks each, and still being enslaved. 2 years after the war was over, blacks were still being held in slavery without about those tribes in the country. That's why the federal government had to go into those Indian territories and force them to turn those blacks loose. And when they turn them loose, say, well, you better give them $100, and the government gave them money. That every Indian tribe should have given black folk $100 in the pocket when they left slavery, and also gave access to the land, to the resources in those reservations, the access to the schools. They have made them tax exempt, and allow them to use the resources. That's what the 1866 Indian treaties are about. And your subscribers right now, your listeners, they can go look up the 1866 Indian treaties and see what benefits Indians got. And right now, Indians are still mistreating black folk. And in conclusion, to answer your statement, I know I'm running way past your time, is that those Indians supposed to have been taking care of blacks. They owe blacks. Indians owe blacks an indebtedness. And yet Obama and the rest of these politicians, like Elizabeth Warren, talk about, we got to give reparations for Indians. For what? For what? They said, well, they lost. They didn't lose no damn land. The land didn't belong to them. If you were to go to the Powernomics book, look in the Powernomics book. I show you a model for reparations for black folk by doing what Indians did.
Make sure that you guys bless the like button and support this game early in the morning, man. A daily dose of your medication for mind elevation. Let's get back to the facts, family.
They didn't lose no damn land. The land didn't belong to them. If you were to go to the Powernomics book, look in the Powernomics book. I show you a model for reparations for black folk by doing what Indians did. Indians have been getting reparations now since the 1866 treaty, based on one simple misunderstanding, that they own the land. that they own the land when the white man come here. They did not own the land when the white man came here. Blacks, the Folsom people and other blacks, the Moors have been here way before those Indians ever arrived when they came across the Bering Straits, 15 or 16,000 years ago. But they've been getting reparations until the present time. Obama gave them $35 billion while he was in office. Didn't give 1 penny to black folk. Now, when I said black slaves for reparations, the treaties consist of 3 things for blacks: black Indians, freed blacks, and blacks who were free and period, just roaming free. And plus those who, as I said, freed black who've been set. That's why they call them freemen. But all those blacks in those treaties should have been getting benefits to the present time. That's why one of my lawsuits right now is pending in the appeals court, federal courts, and also the 6th Circuit Court.
Shout out to Dr. Claud Anderson, man. He's a real historian, man, and he's been breaking down the facts, man. Some of you people want to identify with these 5 civilized tribes so bad, not realizing that they assisted the white man when it comes to enslaving you and your ancestors. The 5 civilized tribes, the 5 civilized tribes, they were conquered and they are compromised. How you gonna trust some people who were conquered and compromised? They assisted the white man in his agenda to enslave you. And then the white man gave them money. The white man ain't gave you money. So all you black people who want to be Choctaw, Cherokee, and maybe you might have some connections to that. I'm not saying you don't, but it's mighty funny that you don't have no money. You're still struggling as an everyday American. You're struggling to pay bills. You ain't got no land. Oh, well, my family, I don't care about your family is some mythical people. What I'm saying is, do you benefit from calling yourself a Choctaw? Do you benefit for calling yourself a Cherokee? Do you benefit? Tell me the benefits that you get today for identifying with these tribes. What do you get from that? You get absolutely nothing. But guess what? A lot of those people who are part of those tribes who don't look like you, or maybe you might say they're $5 Indians. Okay, they've been compromised. You're broke and you're struggling today. You get no benefits claiming any one of these 5 civilized tribes. You get nothing for claiming that. Well, that's because we identify as black. That's why we can't get nothing claiming that. No, your phenotype. They're going to look at you and say, nope, you're not that. You're not going to benefit from that. So you want to be connected to something that you don't even benefit from. All the black people, listen, homie, you didn't get no money, but they gave them people money. They gave them reservations. My thing is this: if you claim to be Cherokee or Choctaw, where's your land at? Can you go live off the land and get paid? Can you live off the land and get a check every month? No, you cannot, because they look at you as a Negro. So you get nothing.
And yet I can't find one black person, not one black person got enough damn sense to understand the nature of the issues. Those have been, we're going to talk about reparations. How do you tell you to talk about reparations on an emotional issue? You can't even get it on a legal issue. Those treaties were treaties of the grandest law in the land. It's a super law. A treaty is a super law, and that's been recognized by Congress. Okay, and
you're gonna have somebody who claims to be Cherokee or any one of these. They're gonna claim to be a part of these civilized tribes. They're gonna get upset with what I'm saying. Okay, well, what do you get from claiming that? I don't want to hear nothing about your family because you don't get anything personally. So if you're upset about me putting these 5 civilized tribes on blast, if you're upset about that, what benefits do you get claiming any one of these 5 civilized tribes? Do you get a check every month? Do you have land that you can live on? No, you guys are broke and you're struggling today. You still got to clock in. You still got to work a 9 to 5. But you want to have this connection to these tribes, and you don't benefit being connected to these tribes. You are poor, broke, and struggling. But yet they gave those people money to enslave you. But you want to be connected to these people so bad, but in the meantime, you get nothing from it. Man, let's continue on with let's move on with the content, though. So if you're going to get mad, get mad. I don't give a damn. Your feelings means nothing to me.
The grandest law in the land. It's a super law. A treaty is a super law.
Man, a lot of people claim to be a part of these tribes, but they don't get no money claiming to be a part of these tribes. They poor, broke, and struggling today. but you want to have a connection to these tribes who's been compromised a long time ago. They assisted the white man when it comes to enslaving people. When it comes to enslaving people who look like you, they're compromised. Why do you want to claim something that's already compromised? You get nothing claiming these tribes. Now, for the sake of history, if you want to say, well, deep down my bloodline is connected, okay, say that if that makes you feel better. Maybe it is true, but at the same time, you get nothing because you's a Negro. And you might say, I ain't no Negro. Okay, well, show me your land. If you claim to be a part of these 5 civilized tribes and you're not a Negro, then you would have land. You would have some type of benefit being connected to these tribes. But in reality, you don't. You're poor, you're broken, you're struggling. You get nothing trying to be connected to these tribes. That's all I'm saying.
That's been recognized by Congress. Okay, and you got those treaties and those black folk entitled to all these benefits, and not one black elected official, not one black civil rights leader has ever come out and say, we're going to demand, not ask for it, not beg for it, not crawl for it, not kiss butt for it. We're going to demand that this nation begin to honor those black treaties and start delivering those benefits to black folk. Right now, black folks should be able to get land from the federal government, just like Indians did, and be able to build their own damn gambling casinos in their own damn communities. And yet, not one can do it. Not one politician's raised it. And Obama didn't do a damn thing for black folk while he was in office all those years, 8 years. Every year he would invite 564 white Indian chiefs, so-called white Indian chiefs, to the White House and give them $3.5 billion a year. And then, and this in conclusion, 92% of all the whites in the country claiming to be Indians are not even Indians. 92% of just white folks who are passing as Indians because their grandparents paid $5. History called them $5. They paid $5 to go to the Dawes Commission and pay the Dawes Commission $5 to put their name on the Dawes rolls that they were Indians when they weren't Indians. The Dawes rolls have been going around identifying those black Indians and those free black men and free blacks and put them on the Dawes rolls and give them a Dawes number so they can get benefits. But those the whites went around and paid $5. They put their name on the Dawes rolls. That's why all these whites like Elizabeth Warren said, my great grandmother was an Indian. My great daddy was an Indian. Every white claims they got Indian blood. 92% of them have never had any Indian blood, never will be Indians. But they try to pass as Indians to get benefits while at the same time denying them for black folk. I got way off your point from 1705 back to the slave codes, but you get back to that point, okay?
No, that's okay. That's okay. Everybody, please let Dr. Anderson know that it's okay. Like, we need the knowledge. Like,
anybody who claims to be a part of these 5 civilized tribes, where's your check? Where's your land? I don't want to hear about, well, my people, you ain't got nothing. You're poor, broken, struggling. They gave those people money. They gave those people land. They didn't give you a dime. You don't have no land. You're paying rent just like everybody else in this country. You're broke. You have nothing. And I'm not talking down on people who are broke. I'm just saying, why do you want to take pride in claiming something when you don't benefit from claiming this? If you claim to be a part of these 5 civilized tribes, where's your land? Where's your check every month? Oh, I get it. You're not getting any of that. You're not getting anything. At this point, it is foolish pride, because the reason that I say that it's foolish pride, because you get nothing claiming to be a part of that. You don't have no land. You don't get no check every month. You have nothing. Nothing.
We playing catch up. Some of y'all, a lot of us, including me, are probably 20, 30 years behind in our education on what it means to be black in this country. We've been lied to for so long. And so I hope you let Dr. Anderson know that this is a godsend. Like, we really need this. And so, by the way, I want to make sure everybody knows, number one, if you're watching, please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that you will be informed whenever we go live. Also, next week is the All Black National Convention. So go to allblacknationalconvention.com. We're going to debate these issues in an honest format.
Let's get some of you brothers to bless the super chat or the cash app. Support these shows when I slide through, man, because yeah, man, I'm gonna keep it coming with more knowledge and more information. Knowledge that you can't get in college. You're not educated. You've been indoctrinated. You ain't got to go to college or school to learn this stuff. You could listen. On your personal time, you can study this yourself. You don't need to spend money on going to college to get in debt. You got all this student loan debt and you're broke today. A lot of these people who claim to be educated, they got a ton of student loan debt, they got bad credit, and they are broke today. And they want to be a part of these tribes, and they don't get anything from claiming these tribes. You don't get a check every month. You have no land, nothing. And you went to college, and as a result of you going to college, you have a ton of student loan debt, bad credit, and none of these things benefit you today. Claiming to be a part, trying to be connected to these tribes don't benefit you. You don't have land, you don't get a check. You went to college to learn a lot of these things when in reality, you could have studied this stuff for yourself and you would have probably came out better studying this for yourself and taking a damn trade. You've been tricked. You've been bamboozled. They gotten over on you. The people suffer from a lack of knowledge. You ain't got to go to college to learn about Choctaws, Indians. You ain't got to go to college to learn. You ain't got to go to college to learn about this history. All you got to do is do your own research, read the right books, study the history, and you can gain the information. You can gain this information for yourself without getting in a ton of student loan debt. A lot of black people have studied this stuff in college and they paid money to learn this stuff in college and they've been indoctrinated, far from educated. And they have bad credit and they owe a ton of student loan debt today. You claim to be a part of these 5 civilized tribes. You don't have land. You're paying rent every month and you are broke and struggling as a result of that. They gave those Indians land, but they didn't give your black ass land. They don't give your black ass a check every month. So they played you. They manipulated you. They played you.
At the convention, so allblacknationalconvention.com. If you want to watch online, sign up at allblackeducation.com. That's allblackeducation.
You claim to be a part of these civilized tribes, but you're paying rent every month. You're poor, broke, and struggling. You don't have nothing, but you want to be a part of these tribes, and the 5 civilized tribes were compromised. Anytime you aid and assist a white man in doing anything, you are compromised. Nah, homie. Make sure that you guys support this channel, support the show. Early Morning Game from King Supreme. Let's get it, baby.
Also, Dr. Claud Anderson's books and access to his YouTube channel are all at powernomics.com. So if you go to powernomics.com, you can check out Dr. Anderson's books, which I think should be required reading for every child. Remember, you are the school system for your child, not the public school system. You're the school system. So in your school system right now, I hope that you will make required reading that your children read Powernomics and Black Labor, White Wealth, The Black History Reader, Dirty Little Secrets 1 and 2. These are books where he's engaged in a lot of scholarly research. He's dug up detailed information. For example, I don't know, tell me yes or no. Has anybody in this room, has anybody in this room ever had a history teacher tell them that that the price that was paid to Indians for bringing back a black body was, what was it, $25 for the body, and then, no, you capture the person, it's $25, you bring back the scalp with the ears attached.
$25 we brought him back alive, $22 it brought back his scalp and with his ears attached.
Right. Has anybody ever a teacher tell them that? Like the specifics, and that's what I like about it, right? The specifics. You don't get these receipts anywhere else. And I don't think they would have ever, tell me, do you think that they would have ever told you this? Do you think they really want a nation full of pissed off black people? And this is just one of 1,000 different facts that they have not told you in school. So it's really important that we learn these things. So Dr. Anderson, I want to ask you this. You were talking about Obama a second ago.
Let me put in one last point on that. Then you go to the next question. And that is, see, they don't do that because right now they want to make sure that Indians are in an elevated status over black folk. That came about starting about 1915 in this country, after Indians had a sufficient ass whipping, and they'd taken, and the whites had taken over most of the land out west. They then began to feel a little guilty about Indians. They started injecting an ethos about their feelings about whites, about Indians, by putting them in different symbolic positions, like put the Indians on the back of a coin, Indian head nickel, or doing advertising with an Indian chief crying about what's happening to the environment. They started putting Indians posters up, trying to paint Indians in a positive sense. And then that was in about 1915. Then by 1938, Indians say, well, we got a little bit of land and resources, but according to those treaties, we supposed to be taking care of black folk. And they said, but we don't want to give niggas nothing. And so what they did, they then wrote letters. Sent letters to the United States Department of Interior, federal government, and asked them, say, how can we avoid never giving black folk a damn thing. These are the same people that
we don't want to give black folks a damn thing. You want to be a part of these civilized tribes so bad, you get nothing from that. You get nothing for claiming that, right? Where's your land? Show me the check that you get every month. Those civilized tribes been compromised a long time ago. That's why you got so many black people who claim to be a part of these civilized tribes, but they have absolutely nothing. No land. They don't get a check every month. You don't have no ownership in these reservations. None of these, no ownership in any of these casinos. You get absolutely nothing. You want to take all this pride in something that you don't get nothing for. None of these tribes will acknowledge you. You can't go to one of these reservations and be acknowledged by the people who get money for claiming this stuff. The people who get paid to be Choctaws and Cherokees and Creeks and all of this stuff, they get paid every month to claim that. You don't get a damn dime, but yet you take so much pride in it. That's crazy. I'm not going to take pride in something that I don't get nothing for. You get absolutely nothing. Those tribes been compromised, man. They've been compromised hundreds of years ago. You want to take pride in something that's been compromised. Man, you people better wake up and smell what's really going on.
You say, well, you know, we got a little bit of land and resources, but according to those treaties, we supposed to be taking care of black folk. And they said, but we don't want to give niggas nothing. And so what they did, they then wrote letters. All they sent letters to the United States Department of Interior, federal government, and asked them, say, how can we avoid never giving black folk a damn thing? These are the same people that black folk keep crying about. We got to help.
And what they're gonna say is, well, the reason why we can't get money claiming to be a part of these civilized tribes is because we claim to be black. No, it's deeper than that. They reclassified a lot of people, true indeed, but they're not going to give you anything. Those tribes been compromised a long time ago, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're not going to get a check. You're not going to get any land. You're going to get nothing, just like you have nothing today, but you want to take pride in claiming something that don't want anything to do with you. Because if they wanted something to do with you, if these people truly embraced you, you would have land, you would get a check every month, but you have nothing. You are broke and struggling. All facts, baby.
These Indians have been screwing black folk now for all these damn years. But that treaty says, how can we get around not giving them anything and violate the treaties? And that letter bounced around in the federal government for about 1938 up to about 1941 or 42. And then the Secretary of Interior, again, and sent a letter back for the federal government saying this, that the best way for you to make sure you shut black folk down in this country, where you get benefits alone by yourselves, just like Obama did, give you all those benefits and give black folk nothing, is for you to come up with a new rule to shut them out. And they come, and the rule would be, it's called.
See, a lot of people think, well, that's because we claim to be black. No, you didn't have to claim to be black. They labeled you a Negro a long time ago because those civilized tribes were compromised. You've been labeled a Negro a long time ago. It don't matter what you call yourself. You could, that's like a white person saying that they're black. Yeah, you can say that all day, but at the end of the day, in the census, you are white. You could claim to be part of these 5 civilized tribes all you want. They're gonna still look at you as a Negro. Why do I say that? Because you get nothing. You don't have no land. You don't get a check every month. You get nothing. So I don't care what you identify as. I'm judging you based on what they label you, and based on that, you get nothing. You're not going to get a check claiming to be no damn Cherokee. You're not going to get no check every month claiming to be a Cherokee. They look at you as a Negro, which means you get nothing. Nothing.
Blood quantum law. Remember that now, Dr. Walker. It's called a blood quantum law, which in how
you ain't got no casino, you ain't got no land, you don't get no check every month, but yet you still want to claim to be a part of these tribes, and you have absolutely nothing claiming to be a part of that. Zero.
How much blood is in the body. And so they ejected that, and they came out and they had the Congress in and act to say, from now on, anything for paying to black folk and black freemen and black Indians, they can't qualify for those benefits in those treaties unless they can prove a blood quantum law, which means they got to show they at least 1/4 inch quarter in blood substance that is Indian. I mean, it must be Indian based. A nigga must have a 1/4 amount of Indian blood in his body to be entitled to it. That was conjectured up under the blood quantum law, which was made.
This is why Dr. Umar was clowning these people, saying pretending, because he said, well, you how come you don't have no land? How come you don't get a check every month? Because they gave the people who, you know, a lot of people who do claim to be a part of that, they got a check. They got land. You got nothing. So that's why Dr. Umar started calling them pretendians. You ain't got no money. You don't get no check. You ain't got no land. You have nothing. That's why Dr. Umar started calling people pretendians. Right? Now you can say, well, that's because they rewrote history. Okay, well, then they defeated you. If somebody was able to kick you up out of your own tribe and they was able to get people who are a part of that tribe to turn you in so that they can get trinkets from the white man, those tribes have been compromised. I don't want anything to do with a tribe who has been compromised. So what you're saying is you're the real Indians, but you get nothing. And the people who are not really Indians, or the people who are not really a part of these tribes, they're the ones getting the money. They're the ones who have land, but you get nothing. Listen, homie, it makes no sense to claim something that's been compromised. The 5 civilized tribes are compromised, so black people who claim to be a part of that, they get absolutely nothing. Most of these people who claim to be a part of these civilized tribes, they don't have no land. They don't get a check every month. They're broke and struggling just like everybody else in this country. Paying rent to the white man, they don't own no land. You're paying rent to the white man and you don't own no land. You are broke and struggling. I'm just giving you the facts. Don't get mad at the messenger.
In the 1940s, it must be Indian based. A nigga must have a 1/4 amount of Indian blood in his body to be entitled to it. That was conjectured up under the blood quantum law, which was made up in the 1940s, shut blacks all out. And right now, all Indians talk about, you got to be a full-blooded, a quarter blood, a half blood. That has nothing in the world to do with the damn laws. The laws of the treaty laws, which are international laws, were in effect in 1866, didn't say a damn thing about quantum of blood. And black folk right now haven't gotten one damn penny, and nobody. So in conclusion, why in the world would black folk be meeting, talking about reparations? You tell me this, Dr. Watkins. Why the hell would they be talking about reparations? They didn't even know the simplest ass thing. Going back in history when they had a chance in the law, why'd you be trying to emotionalize and verbalize about trying to get reparations? You can't even go back and got enough information based on facts and history to demand what you're already entitled to. That's why it makes no damn sense to me. No, I don't want to be in those damn reparation discussions because most of them don't know what the hell they're talking about. And then most of them too lazy to go read and find out about it. And right now, if they take those 5 books called the library pack, the Powernomics library book pack, that covers all these issues for them, lay it out in timelines, dates, as you said, and show them how to play the game and win, then they can play it. But most of them don't know what the hell they're talking about. They just emotionalize it. They sat down in the bathroom and said, well, I think I'll do this. I'm gonna make this hard. I'm gonna write me a book about this. They don't document, they don't research, they don't know what they're talking about. And half of them just got good hearts, but they don't study. And those library packs should be in every black home. The Black Powernomics library pack should be in every home, every school, and every library. And if it's not in there, there's no way in God's name you're gonna be able to deal with white folk and get a damn penny out of them. Because reparation is a legal issue. I mean, right now they're making it a legal issue. But in fact, it's a political issue. If black folks stood up and had some backbone and spirit and some knowledge, they could get reparations tomorrow. But they're too scared and they're too ill-informed. They're not going to do it.
All right. Well, you know, the blood quantum law, I think you guys should look that up. And Dr. Anderson, as you were speaking, I was Googling on that. And they brought up the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, which they said that was one of the times they started using blood quantum to start to exclude people from the benefits, from the financial benefits.
And they said 1934. Really, the letter went up in 1938, but that's okay. That's good. That's all right. That's close to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's important to understand. And it looks like as I was reading here, they were referencing a lot of legal challenges that people had to the use of these laws to exclude people. And so you have this lawsuit in court for many, many years. And this is something that we can rally behind. This is something politicians can connect to. This is something that
This is Judge Joe Brown. Maybe I'll tell you a whole lot of stuff you never knew. Watch the whole interview here on I Never Knew TV. Is to get people
have the same cultural connection with Africa. And notice people are desperate with trying to force us to identify as an African. Now, racially, we're African people. Racially, ethnically, we are a different group. Ethnically, we're foundational Black Americans. I acknowledge my African racial inherent DNA and the connection I have with other African descended people globally. We have a connection as far as intrinsic race and biology. So I acknowledge that. No problem with that. When I travel to Africa or any other place where there are Black people, I see a commonality with that.
Yeah, they gave you EBT. They claim, listen, man, if you claim to be a part of these 5 civilized tribes and you ain't got no land and you don't get a check every month, they gave you EBT. Shout out to Scoop. And listen, I do know that Blacks were here. You had Blacks in this country prior to any European showing up. But let's be real, man. What's the point in taking pride in something that you don't benefit from? They didn't give you no casino. They didn't give you no land. They didn't give you no check every month. They gave you EBT and food stamps, just like the rest of the ghetto folks in this country. Stop playing yourself. I'm part of the 5 civilized tribes, man. They didn't give you nothing, man. They gave you EBT. Stop it. You ain't got no land. You ain't got no casino. You don't get a check every month. Stop it. Wake up and smell what's really going on.
Have the same cultural connection with Africa. And notice people are desperate with trying to force us to identify as an African. Now, racial.
Listen, I don't claim to be an African and I don't claim to be no damn Indian. I'm a foundational Black American. If y'all want to be Africans, go ahead and be an African. You want to be a part of these 5 civilized tribes, go ahead, because the 5 civilized tribes been compromised. So I don't need anything to do with that. I'm a foundational Black American. FBA is not compromised. Why? Because FBA is a term that was created by a foundational Black American. Therefore, it is not compromised. You want to be a pretendian? As Dr. Umar would say, part of the 5 civilized tribes, that movement has been compromised a long time ago. You get nothing claiming that as a Black American. You ain't got no casino. You don't get no check every month. You don't own no land. They gave you welfare and EBT. Man, I want y'all to listen to Tariq Nasheed break this down, and I'm gonna be quiet.
Have the same cultural connection with Africa. And notice people are desperate with trying to force us to identify as an African. Now, racially, we're African people. Racially, ethnically, we are a different group. Ethnically, we're foundational Black Americans. I acknowledge my African racial inherent DNA and the connection I have with other African descended people globally. We have a connection as far as intrinsic race and biology. So I acknowledge that. No problem with that. When I travel to Africa or any other place where there are Black people, I see a commonality with that. But we're also a people who have a very unique ethnic background, and that's us being foundational Black Americans. That goes just beyond the skin tone. All right, we better understand ethnicity, because when we're talking about our ethnic background as foundational Black Americans, now we're talking about culture. Now, because we have a different culture. We have a different culture. We have different styles, different belief systems, a different lineage that's unique from other people. All right? We do have ethnic differences that are unique to us, just like other people have ethnic differences that are unique to them. Jamaican people, who are right there in the Caribbean, even though they're descendant from African people too, even though they're descended from African people, they have a unique ethnic culture. Now, we got somebody waiting. Y'all took her comment down. There's a girl in the comment section named Indian Red who said, Tyreek, no, we don't. All right, let me get on y'all niggas for a minute. Let me talk to y'all for 1 minute. All y'all Negroes who are now trying to claim these Indian tribes. Okay, that's not going to work. Okay, let me stop y'all Negroes with that claiming Creek and all of that shit. All right, y'all can stop that. Okay, because now there's Negroes now. We is the Creek Indians. Okay, hold on, because we see that, and then sometimes people try to make it seem like I'm on that. No, y'all better stop with that trying to claim them red tribes. No, those red tribes have been remixed. That's not going to work. Now, where y'all at? Come on, y'all Negroes. Her name Indian Red. No, Indian Red and other Negroes like that. All right, let me talk to y'all who are trying to claim, the dumbass, lame Callaway crowd. There's a reason why dumbasses like that are not taken seriously. No, y'all can't claim them red tribes. That doesn't work. That's not going to work for you. Claiming them red Indian tribes, that's not going to work. Even though there were some Aboriginal tribes and some of the Choctaw and some of those people who were reclassified as Negro, yes. There were a lot of Native Americans who were reclassified as Negro. This is absolutely true, especially out here in California. There were a lot of those Aboriginal tribes really out here heavy. The Mojave, these were like black tribes. The Ohlone tribe, these tribes look like African tribes. They got reclassified as Negro, and then the white supremacists infiltrated them tribes already. They've been infiltrated by the dominant society now. So what, you gonna reclaim them tribes now? Boy, that's an uphill battle. Where the feather-wearing Negroes now? Are y'all gonna try to reclaim them tribes now? Boy, that's an uphill battle if y'all think you're gonna do that. Those tribes have already been infiltrated by $5 European Indians. They've already been infiltrated.
See, what Tariq Nasheed is saying is we do acknowledge the fact that a lot of these people were melanated, right? But they've been compromised, which is why a lot of black people, a lot of foundational Black Americans who claim to be a part of these tribes, they don't have no land, they don't have no casinos, they don't get a check every month. They get absolutely nothing. And you're not going to get anything. Why? Because those tribes been compromised. They assisted the white man when it comes to enslaving you. So if they assisted the white man when it comes to enslaving you, that means that they are compromised, which is why you don't have land, which is why you have nothing. You don't get a check every month. You get EBT and welfare. They didn't give you no land. They didn't give you no damn check every month. Yes, we do acknowledge that a lot of melanated blacks were here prior to the Europeans showing up, right? But once the Europeans showed up, those tribes were compromised. They don't have your best interests in mind. That's why your black ass ain't got no land. That's why you don't get a check every month. So why do you want to claim something that's been compromised? We are foundational Black Americans, and that is not compromised. We'll be better off moving forward with that. Hit the like button. I'm just giving you the facts.
The white supremacists infiltrated them tribes. the Mojave, these were like black tribes, the Ohlone tribe. These tribes look like African tribes. They got reclassified as Negro, and then the white supremacists infiltrated them tribes already. They've been infiltrated by the dominant society now. So what, you gonna reclaim them tribes now? Boy, that's an uphill battle. Where the feather wearing Negroes now? Because are y'all gonna try to reclaim them tribes now? Boy, that's an uphill battle if y'all think you're gonna do that. Those tribes have already been infiltrated by $5 European Indians. They've already been infiltrated. All right? They've already kicked the black folks out of those tribes a century and a half ago.
Right.
They done already kicked them out those tribes. All right? You feel me? Now, if you want to go that route or claim some type of allegiance to those tribes, the best thing to do is go for the Treaty of 1866, where those tribes are supposed to give the same resources and benefits to the freedmen that were associated with them. And that's another thing. A lot of the black natives, they either reclassified them as Negro or reclassified them as freedmen. Just said, okay, they were freed they were slaves that we had. Yeah. So that's going to be an uphill battle if you want to try that. That's kind of a waste of time. You know, that's kind of a waste of time because the Red Indians, they've already been absorbed into either black society or white society. They've already been absorbed. That's why when you see these tribes now, it look like a whole bunch of Justin Timberlakes. When you look at the tribal chiefs of some of those tribes, those federally recognized tribes, they look like the Bee Gees. Yeah? They've been infiltrated already. So you can play that game and fight that uphill battle with that. And trying to claim that you want to claim some kind of allegiance with the Creeks, who basically got a bunch of suspected white supremacists running things over there now. You understand? They've been flipped. They didn't turn white, dude. We are a specific ethnic group. We are foundational Black Americans. We are a very unique ethnic group. You dig? And that's why self-classification is important. Trying to align yourselves with a group that's already been infiltrated, how's that going to work for you?
How is that going to work for you? See, being a foundational Black American, that's not infiltrated. Claiming to be a part of these tribes that's already been infiltrated, that's already been compromised, is not working out for you. And I'm going to tell you how it's not working out for you. You don't get a check every month. You don't own no casino. You don't have no land. So claiming to be a part of these tribes has done absolutely nothing for you. Those tribes, the 5 civilized tribes, has been compromised a long time ago. So it ain't doing nothing for you. You can say what you want about foundational Black Americans, but foundational Black Americans are not compromised. That term, that word was coined by a foundational Black American, not anyone else. Now, when you talk about these civilized tribes, those labels were coined by white men. The white man reclassified them. The white man conquered them. The white man dominated them, which means they are compromised. And if they are compromised, that means that it is not beneficial for you to claim a tribe that's already been compromised. You get nothing claiming that. Now, if you want to say I have roots that trace back to that, fine, say that. I'm not taking that away from you. But to talk about this stuff with pride, knowing damn well that they've been compromised, is foolish. It's been compromised a long time ago, well over 100 years ago, probably 200 years ago. They've been compromised for a long time. Foundational Black Americans is a grassroots thing. It was coined by a foundational Black American himself. Nobody else labeled us that. We labeled ourselves because that's exactly what we are. And that movement is not compromised by no white man. like the 5 civilized tribes were compromised and dominated by white men. This is why the black people today, think about it, the black people today who claim a connection to those tribes, they have absolutely nothing. And if you want to prove me wrong, let me ask you something. Where's your land? Where's your casino? Where's your check every month? I get it. You don't, let's please understand this. You don't get nothing. Well, my family, man, forget your family. What do you have? Show me your land. Show me the check that you get every month. You get absolutely nothing claiming a connection to these tribes. Those tribes have been compromised, which is why you don't get nothing. The government gave you welfare and food stamps. They didn't give your black ass no land. They didn't cut you a check every month. It's just crazy, man. We're not saying that black people wasn't here. We're not saying that originally blacks weren't a part of those tribes. What we're saying is compromise, which is why you get nothing. I don't claim to be no Indian. I don't claim to be an African. I'm a foundational black American, and that's exactly what I roll with, because foundational black Americans are not compromised. A white man didn't coin that term or the word or whatever you want to call it. If you want to be a Creek, a Choctaw, a Cherokee, the white man has already dominated, and those people are compromised, man. You get nothing claiming that stuff, homie.
We are specific ethnics. We are a very unique ethnic group. You dig? Oh, they've been flipped. They didn't turn white, dude. We are a specific ethnic group. We are foundational black Americans. We are a very unique ethnic group.
Man, the Choctaws, the Cherokees, the Creeks, all of them owned slaves. And they assisted the white man because the white man gave them benefits to enslave us, to capture us. That's why they became the 5 civilized tribes, because they were compromised by the white man. They aided and assisted the white man. That's why they were labeled the 5 civilized tribes. Like, okay, if you enslave these blacks, then we'll label you civilized. We'll take our foot off of your necks as long as you help us to capture these Negroes. And that's exactly what the 5 civilized tribes did. They compromised their integrity. They rewrote their history, all so that they could get in good graces with the white man, so that the white man can take his foot off of their neck. So the white man said, as long as you assist us when it comes to capturing and enslaving these Negroes, we'll label you a civilized tribe. But first things first, you must assist us. And that's exactly what they did. So if they assisted the white man, that means that they are compromised. Those people got land. Those people get checks every month. And the foundational black Americans today who claim to be a part of those tribes, they get absolutely nothing. They're broke. They're struggling. They gave you Negroes welfare and EBT. While the people who really claim that, who was a part of that, they got land, casinos, and they get checks every month. You get nothing. You are broke and struggling. You got welfare and EBT. But you want to claim to be a part of these tribes who clearly, these tribes are compromised. Let me just say that.
You did basically got a bunch of suspected white supremacists running things over there now. You understand? They've been flipped. They didn't turn white, dude. We are a specific ethnic group. We are foundational black Americans. We are a very unique ethnic group. You dig? And that's why self-classification is important. Trying to align yourselves with a group that's already been infiltrated, how's that going to work for you? For real. I'm all about doing things that's practical. Trying to realign yourselves with a group or a tribe that's been completely infiltrated right now. They done infiltrated them things left and right. Yeah. So us identifying as the ethnic group we are an ethnic group, and we're self-identified. We'll get more strength there because we're going to be more codified there. We're going to be more codified there because us acknowledging our foundational Black American heritage, we do acknowledge the Aboriginal, the African, and the foundational. Because I don't have a problem with Africa. I don't have a problem with African DNA. You got some of these dudes trying to claim these red tribes talking about we ain't got no African DNA. I don't know what you're talking about because we're mixed in with African people. We are mixed in.
No, that's true. Like a lot of these people say, I don't have no African DNA. That's a lie because when a lot of these native tribes and Indians or the 5 civilized tribes or whatever you want to call them, they got mixed in with Black people. So it's not like they gave you a separate area to live in than the so-called Africans, but their argument is going to be, well, they only brought a small percentage of Africans over here. Yes, but the Africans that they brought over here multiplied because they breeded them. So they multiplied once they got here. So a lot of you people who claim to be Choctaw, Cherokee, and Creek, you have African DNA because guess what? They started to mix the indigenous Black people with the Africans and they made them breed and live together. So a lot of you guys who say this, man, listen, homie, if you do a DNA test right now, you're going to have some African blood in you. That's a fact. That's not to say that you don't have indigenous blood because yes, there was indigenous Blacks here. But guess what? Once they got reclassified and the white man took over the land, they put the so-called indigenous melanated people, they mixed them with the Africans that they brought over here. And they dumped them in one community, which means they mixed and had babies together. So that means that you have African DNA and you might have some Cherokee, you might have some of that DNA. I'm not denying that. But a lot of these people who claim to be Indians, Choctaws, Creeks, and Cherokees, they deny the fact that they have African DNA, when in reality, the white man put you guys all on the slave plantation, which means you mix together. And you've mixed together in this country for centuries. For centuries, you have mixed together the Aboriginals with the Africans that they brought over here. They all mixed together because the white man put them on the same plantation. The white man put them in the same communities, which means they mixed together. So you have a mixture of all these different things. You got a mixture of European blood, African blood, and indigenous blood. You're a mixture of all of those things, right? But guess what? We became foundational Black Americans because guess what? We are unique and we are different to any other group across the country just based on what we went through on this land. So that's why we claim we're foundational Black Americans. Like the Jamaicans in Jamaica, of course, they are descendants of Africa, but they was raised in Jamaica, so they have their own culture. They have their own everything over there. So they are Jamaicans, even though they have African heritage, African DNA. Foundational Black Americans, yes, a lot of us do have African DNA. Some of us have native indigenous DNA, right? And of course, a lot of us have European DNA because of the slave trade, because the white man was sleeping with all the women. So we are unique. We are different, but we are unique just based on what we've gone through, just based on the different mixtures. So you got a lot of these so-called Blacks who claim to be a part of these 5 civilized tribes. They say, I don't have no African DNA. That is a bold-faced lie. Yes, you do. They mixed the so-called native Blacks with the Africans on the same plantation. That is a fact.
I don't know where y'all going with that. As the ethnic group we are an ethnic group and we're self-identified. We'll get more strength there because we're going to be more codified there. We're going to be more codified there because us acknowledging our foundational Black American heritage, we do acknowledge the Aboriginal, the African, and the foundational. Because I don't have a problem with Africa. I don't have a problem with African DNA. You got some of these dudes trying to claim these red tribes talking about we ain't got no African DNA. I don't know what you're talking about because we're mixed in with African people. We are mixed in. I don't know where y'all going with that. I don't know what that bullshit is about. And then you got people who try to attribute that nonsense to me. I've never said that I don't have African DNA. Yeah, I do. But I'm still a foundational Black American. You think? We got to talk real. We got to talk real here. Yeah. And again, I talked about this before. Yeah, there were absolute.
So listen, man, bless the like button. I want to keep this show rolling a little longer, but we got to get some more supporters, homie. And we get a few more supporters, I'll keep this show rolling longer, you know, because a lot of people want to show up when I drop the link, but you people ain't blessing the super chat. You ain't blessing the Cash App. So until we start getting more super chats and more people who bless the Cash App, I'm going to do these shows and I'm going to log off. You know, I got to log off, right? So once we get the people to start supporting this content on this channel, then I'll start doing panel shows. Then I'll start dropping a link. But until then, we're not going to do that because a lot of you people show up and you're not showing up to support the content like that. So until we get the more contributors and more supporters, once we get that, then I'll start dropping a link and we'll start bringing people up to speak to have the conversation. You know, I got to do what makes sense because I am running a business. If you can pull up to speak all day, surely you can pull up and drop some support on the channel. That's all I'm saying. Because we're not going to have these 2-hour, 3-hour conversations and we only got 2 or 3 people supporting the show. We're not going to play those games over here. We're not going to play those games over here. Anyway, let me see this real quick. Shout out to Scribblature. All right, shout out to you for the super chat, man. I appreciate you for the super chat. And you know me, bro, and you know me, homie. I've dropped the link a lot, homie. We've had little to no support, and I've dropped the link a lot on TV1. And a lot of times people just be showing up to talk. And a lot of people who show up to talk, they're not the ones supporting the show. The people who support me most are the people who don't even show up to talk. They enjoy the content, so they'll just support the content. And I'm not saying that to put nobody on blast, but I got to be honest. Most of the people who support my show, these are not even the people who pull up to speak when I drop the link. The people who pull up to speak are the people who support me. The people who pull up to speak are not the people who support the show like that. And I've noticed this for a long time. The people who support me financially are the people that you see in the comments and they listen, they enjoy the content. So they'll send a super chat, they'll send a Cash App. And they're not even the ones who pull up to speak like that. Like your Lim Hendricks, your Lions Dollars. It's rare that they even pull up to speak, but they're some of the main people who support the show. The people who want to pull up and talk for 30 minutes, they're not even the ones supporting my show like that. That's crazy, but I got to give you the reality. Yeah. Shout out to you, bro. Hit the like button. Shout out to you, Squib King. Squib King, I appreciate you, bro. You know? But anyway, man, it is what it is. I appreciate the people who do support this content. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate you for rocking with me. I had to say that, right? Because it is what it is. Yes, you were tuned into one of the best in the game. Red Supreme, King Supreme. Subscribe to the channel. Shout out to T-Fam, man. To T-Fam. That's what's up, my brother. Shout out to T-Fam. I appreciate you guys for supporting the show. Now, I would love to start doing a lot of these shows where I bring people up to speak. But listen, we got to get some people to support the content in a major way, right? That's all I'm saying. And then once we get the support up, I'll start dropping the link. But guess what? We got to keep our language in check over here because we are monetized over here and we got to keep our language in check. Like, don't come to my show talking reckless when you behave in somebody else's comment section. That's what I noticed too. A lot of people think they can come to my channel and say whatever they want, but when they go to other people's channel, they behave and watch what they say. Why? Because they know that those people will block them and they know that those people will block them. So when they go to those channels, they behave, but they think they can come over here and talk stupid. I'm not tolerating it. You come to my channel talking stupid, talking reckless, messing with my money, I'm gonna boot you, I'm gonna block you. Because at that point, I'm gonna start to look at you like the enemy because you are messing with my money. That's exactly how I'll look at it. I'm gonna look at it just like that. So if I drop the link, don't pull up talking reckless. Be responsible with your language, because guess what? You don't talk stupid like that at your job. When you go to your job every day, you don't use the N-word and you don't talk stupid over there, right? But you feel like you can come to my channel and talk stupid, even though this is where I conduct my business. This is how I make my money. So if you come to my channel, talking stupid, I'm gonna boot you, because I know damn well you don't talk like that on your job. You don't talk like that on your job. You watch your language at your job. So if you watch your language at that white man's job, you're gonna watch your language when you pull up over here to my channel. It's simple respect. And if you don't want to, and if you can't learn respect, if you don't know how to conduct yourself, you will not be welcome over here. Got the nerve to conduct yourself in a professional manner at that white man's job, but you feel like you can talk reckless on my platform. I'm getting rid of y'all. Anybody with that mindset over here, I am getting rid of you. You're going to act civilized at the white man's job, but you're going to talk reckless on my platform? Nah, homie, I'm not tolerating that. I'm not tolerating that. Not doing it. Don't jeopardize my monetization because you want to talk reckless on my platform, but you go to that white man's job and you behave in a professional manner. That's all I'm saying. Shout out to Virgil Berry in the buildings. You know, shout out to Cheesehead Ali. Shout out to Scoop. Yeah. And listen, I'm not talking crazy. I'm just being real. Like if you can behave at that white man's job and you can behave in a professional manner, you can do the same thing over here. Don't disrespect my business. Don't disrespect my platform. But when you go to that white man's job, you behave yourself. Nah, homie, I'm not tolerating that. That's all I'm saying, family. But shout out to the real, man. You know I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys in a major way. In a major way, I really appreciate you guys, right? The people who respect my platform, I got a lot of love and respect for y'all. Most definitely. Shout out to Student Warrior. Student Warrior, if I see you in it, if now royalty, I gotta give you a wrench. Student Warrior, I gotta give you a wrench because you've been supporting this platform in a major way. And I got a lot of love and appreciation for you guys. Listen, we got another show coming up in a couple of hours, and we're going to talk about the immigration things, and maybe I'll do a part 2. What I'm going to do is I'll do a part 2 to this later on. So I want to do 3 shows today. I got a show coming up about immigration in Los Angeles, how they're giving immigrants money. And then we'll do a part 2 to this where we'll talk about black people who claim to be a part of these tribes, but they don't get a check every month. They have no land. They don't have no ownership in the casino. And I told you the 5 civilized tribes, they were compromised. I'm not saying that you don't have no blood ties to them. Maybe you do have blood ties to those civilized tribes, but they were compromised. They assisted the white man when it comes to enslaving blacks in his country. That's exactly what they did. So nobody's denying the fact that you might have a connection to these tribes, but those tribes were compromised. They assisted the white man when it comes to enslaving foundational black Americans. So if the white man owe reparations, the native tribes owe reparations too, because guess what? They got paid by the white man to enslave you, to capture you. They gave you Negroes welfare and food stamps, and they gave the people who are not melanated in those tribes, they gave them land and casinos, and they get a check every month. And you got absolutely nothing, but you want to take all this pride in claiming those tribes that don't give a damn about you. That's crazy. True Warrior, I got you. Matter of fact, let me see where royalty is at right now. I'm gonna mod some of you guys up, man, because y'all been rocking and supporting. So I'm finna mod you up right now, man. True Warrior Scholar, I got you, brother. You've been rocking with me for a minute, and I appreciate you, man. I appreciate where you at. True Warrior Scholar, there you go. You a mod now, my bro. I got to make you a mod. Royalty, you definitely got to be a mod because you've been supporting too. So that goes without being said. Yes, True Warrior Scholar, I just modded you up, my brother. Shout out to SR Serum for the super chat as well, man. Y'all been rocking, man, and y'all been rocking in a major way. Shout out to Jordan Anthony for the super chat as well. Y'all been rocking. So, you know, Red Supreme gonna always rock with y'all. Matter of fact, this is what I'm gonna do. Keep the language clean. I'm gonna drop the link for you guys real quick. Hold on, man. I want to see what y'all got to say about this. If anybody wants to speak about the pretendians and, you know, blacks who want to claim these civilized tribes, you know, you guys are welcome to pull up, man. So if you want to add something to the conversation about why these blacks claim these civilized tribes that don't do anything for them today, and I said these civilized tribes have been compromised because they have. And I'm not saying that you don't have a connection through your bloodline to some of these tribes. What I'm saying is those tribes have been compromised. You don't get no check every month. You don't have no land. They give you welfare and food stamps. The pale people, listen, the pale people who claim to be a part of those tribes, they got land and they get checks every month. You don't get nothing. They cut you out of the money. You don't get none of that money. Let me see who this is. Yeah, you don't get none of that money. You get zero. The white man compromised. Listen, the white man dominated them tribes a long time ago because once they became compromised, they had to play by the white man's rules. Once you become compromised, you now have to play by the white man's rules, which is why the black people who claim to be a part of those tribes, that's why they don't have nothing. They don't have no land, no checks, no casinos. They gave you Negroes welfare and food stamps. Understand that those tribes have been compromised, which is why you have nothing today. Shango, what it do?
What's popping, OG? What's going on, bro?
Man, just chilling. I want to get everybody thoughts on this conversation, man.
Yeah, no doubt. My bad for swearing up a storm the last time I came up here. These tethers, man, they just get me pissed off, man. But on this 5 civilized tribes, man, the problem is with a lot of these cats, they don't do enough deep research and they don't understand that a lot of those tribes were created by the U.S. government themselves around the early 1800s. And it was for the express purpose of denationalizing our indigenous ancestors. Because most of us are Upper Creek, Yamasee, Yuchi, Guale, all these other tribes that are southeastern. There was some on the southwest, and there's some in Mexico, obviously, but the majority are southeastern, Yamasee, right? They spoke Hitishi. In the case of the Upper Creek, it was Muskogean, that's a dialect of Hitishi. And so those aren't even our people. Those are red people. That's the problem. And these dudes are trying to claim red men as their ancestors. And, you know, some of them might have red men, but there's a difference between the black aboriginals, the black indigenous, and then the red men. And these dudes, they get upset when you say, oh, we have African. You guys, you ain't come from Africa. No, bro. You have to understand that black folks was traveling all over the world before colonization and during that period. So you have a lot of mixing going on. So FBAs, we are a very mixed people. But that's okay because we got the greatest black peoples coming together. We got the Moors, we got some of the Hebrew coming over here, we got some of the all this other stuff, man. Like the history just goes so deep. So I appreciate what you're doing and talking about this, OG.
Man, I appreciate you for pulling up and sharing your knowledge, my brother. You
No
know,
problem. I got way more. Just let me know.
well, shit.
But yeah,
If you want to say anything else, you got the flow.
Yeah, I'll just say everybody needs to look into the Aboriginal Republic of North America if you want to learn about some of the stuff. And the Yamasee just got their website popping, the Yamasee Nation. They're trying to reach out to people. So check them out. There's a lot of people out here moving and willing and dealing with this stuff. And the thing is, it's not like the internet pretendians, the $5 internet Indians, and these are the black folks. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, a lot of them just sit up and talk all day. Not all. I'm saying there's some good people though, but some of them, like the ones that be going at Tariq, them dudes are whacked out. Okay, dudes, they're whacked out, man. They're just as bad as the Pan African and the Tethers. They have the same mindset. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah. I ain't gonna hold you too long though, but yeah, just looking at these different things, man, do some research, do your genealogy. That's the most important thing you could do. Because then you're gonna find out, okay, grandma, she descend from Africans, grandpa descend from the Upper Creek, the Alabama, right? The Alabama, whatever. So you can look into that yourself. But I appreciate you, man. I put my Cash App in under a different name, but salute to you.
Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to everybody that's rocking with the channel. And like we said, man, like these tribes have been compromised, which is why you don't get nothing. The pale-faced people who claim those tribes are the ones that's getting land, are the ones that's getting checks every month, are the ones who have casinos. You guys get nothing. You'll be better off running with foundational Black Americans, because foundational Black Americans are not compromised. It's a grassroots movement, and that's exactly what it is. Shout out to Darius for the Cash App. Shout out to Warrior Scholar for the Cash App. Let me bring. I'm gonna bring up. I'm gonna bring up Big E and see what Big E has to say about it. The pale-faced people who claim these tribes are the ones who have the land, are the ones who have casinos, are the ones who are getting checks every month. All you Black people who want to be desperately connected to these tribes, man, you ain't got nothing. They ain't gave you nothing. Zero. So this is what I'm gonna do, man. We gonna ride this one out to the 2-hour mark, man. You know, I was gonna shut it down a little earlier, man, but hey, man, people showed up, showed love, and that's all I'll be asking. So this is what we gonna do. I'm gonna pass it to Scoop is at work right now. I don't know if Big E is at work. I don't know where Big E went, but I'm gonna pass it to Scoop. Scoop, where you at?
Peace to the chat. Peace to you, Red. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, bro.
Yeah. I'm at the job. I'll tap in with you for a minute, man. Look, is it pretendians or Europeans? Because a whole lot of these so-called pretendians look like Europeans to me. They don't look like they got an ounce of that Indian blood in them. And then here we come talking about this us, them our peoples. They sold you out. I know one girl in my life to get a check. One. In my 56 years, I only met one that get a check. One that get a check every year. Everybody else, I ain't seen them get nothing. Welfare, EBT, to Medi-Cal. That's about it. Where your casino at? That's what I want to know. Where the Black casinos at? If that's the case, and all of us got that Indian, and I'm this and I'm that, okay, where your casino at? How come you ain't in there hiring blackjack dealers? Since you got a casino, no, you living in the same neighborhoods we is, broke as hell, just like the rest of us Negroes. They ain't recognizing you. They ain't giving you nothing. They ain't including you in nothing. And to them, you ain't nothing. Recognize that. You better lean on this blackness. That's what you better lean on, because them other groups, every one of them have stepped on us. Every one of them have got over on us. And every one of them don't want to see us with nothing, Red, nothing. You sitting up here caping for people who ain't caping for you. That don't make no sense. How come you ain't on the reservation living free?
Right.
Huh? I mean, come on, man. You living right down the street. You living on, or you over here living on Gramercy, talking about you an Indian. Last I checked, Gramercy don't run through no reservation. Make it make sense. You talking all that mess. I'm Indian. Oh, because you got some straight hair? Or because you got some light skin? That don't mean you Indian. You mixed with Willie the Wino standing in the front of the liquor store. That's who your daddy is. But you sitting up talking about you Indian, man, miss me with that. Every time I hear that, I fall out laughing. Ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. But you just left the county office 20 minutes ago.
And look at this school. Like people claim these tribes, and those tribes assisted the white man when it comes to enslaving blacks. The white man said, we'll take our foot off of your neck as long as you help us to capture these Negroes. And once they decided to assist the white man, then the white man said, okay, you're civilized now that you're helping me. That's why they called them the 5 civilized tribes in the first place, because they aided and assisted the white man when it came to capturing us.
Yeah, they ain't had no love for us. They ain't got no, like Dr. Claud said, shoot, they didn't, we wasn't together. Now all of a sudden 2025, we all together. If Indians got their own place, they got their own reservation, their own casinos, they get their checks every month. And your black behind sitting up siding with them as though you get a check. Yeah, you get one all right on the first of the month, and it ain't coming from no casino. And it ain't coming from no reservation. Yeah, you get a check, all right. You get a check. You get a check, and you better get your behind to work before they cut you off that check. Man, miss me with that. Coming with that, man. Come on now. What is it, a problem to be black these days? Is that what it is? Is it a problem to be black? You got to align yourself with somebody else. Is that what it is?
What they gonna say is this school, well, the white man gave you the term black. That's what they gonna say.
Yeah. More gaslighting, more lies, more BS. Like the last brother came, he said you need to do a deep dive, do some research. It ain't hard. You know what I'm saying? There's still a few libraries left. If Google ain't working for you, you can still go do your research. Man, please. We was back, our ancestors back there fighting for their damn lives. And the same people you representing sold them out. The same people you talking about had to be told to let them out of slavery.
Right.
The same people that you represent. That's what you cool with. You cool with that, man. If that ain't some steaming from Django mess, I don't know what is. Gonna sit up and claim the very people that helped enslave your ancestors. Help your ancestors who wanted to be free back into captivity. And these are the people you claiming you part of? Oh,
Yeah.
man. What I done said, the FBA thing ain't for the weak, Red. This FBA thing ain't for the weak. I'm going to land it there. Get my black behind back to work.
Yeah, I appreciate you for pulling up, Scoop. And before I pass it to Big E, what you guys got to understand is the 5 civilized tribes assisted the white man when it comes to enslaving blacks. So if you're going to talk about Africans and tethers, then you got to talk about them too, because they ain't no better. Not listen, the tethers ain't enslaved you. The tethers just be running their mouth. The tethers are powerless. But the 5 civilized tribes played a role in enslaving your black ass, assisted the white man and got trinkets to do it. So everybody has betrayed the foundational black American. They ain't just the white man. Let me pass it to Biggie.
Hey, what it do, Red? What it do, chat? Scoop, man, the playbook is always the same. But what do you expect though when you let your enemies educate your kids? Now, for all this knowledge we got, you sending them to school, and what do you think they're not going to teach your kids that those people sold you out too? You know what I'm saying? They got you thinking that they were the victims. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they did this to us. They did. Yeah, but you got in bed with them, though. You get what I'm saying? All that's on you. You get what I'm saying? It's like you want to send your kids to these institutions that radicalizes them. You get what I'm saying? And they're not going to tell you the actual real about these groups that sold us out, even though the Bible tells you, Psalms 83 tells you we have no friends. Everybody sold us out. Like, these is facts. We have no allies. But you just got to peep the wording in the paperwork. Like when they broke down DEI, that was supposed to have been a minority thing, but white women were getting all the benefits. Rachel Dolezal knew how to, you know what I'm saying, go between the cracks to get a full ride. Kamala Harris, these people ain't black, but they were able to go to these schools, these black schools,
full ride scholarships. You see what I'm saying? When black women ain't even getting them, like actual black women ain't getting them like that. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, it's a reason that the education level in America is where it's at. You know what I mean? A lot of people are stupid to a lot of facts that, you know, Scoop was saying, that Red be saying. A lot of people don't know this. You know what I'm saying? People think because they got long hair, oh, I got Indian in me. Ah, shut up, champ. You don't even know what the hell you talking about. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying it really kind of starts. It really kind of starts there. You get what I'm saying? Because guess what? When you send them to these colleges, it's a whole lot of, you know, Charlie Kirk stands and people like that that's trying to influence your kids. You see what I'm saying? Fresh out of high school. So they're not, their job is not to educate you on who you really are. It's your people's job to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's a fact, V-Dub. Everybody want to say, why are y'all so worried about us? Everybody always got this negative stuff to say about us. But then you are so worried about us at the same time. Like y'all just will not fall back and leave us alone, even though we said we gonna leave y'all alone. Because again, your grift is over. You need to grift off us. Now that we falling back, you see what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, that grift is over. You see what I'm saying? But again, our problem is we don't know who. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all think these Indian people, because they got in bed with them, you think you have an ally. No, we have no allies. I mean, there's certain events that show the hip hop conversation should have showed you that. Look at every time it's getting ready to be, say, like a major boxing match. You remember when Floyd and Conor McGregor was getting ready to fight, the racists came out in droves. They came all the way from overseas because they just knew Conor McGregor was going to whoop Floyd. How was everybody acting? When Bud and Canelo just fought, how was everybody acting leading up to that fight? You know what I'm saying? The racism be heavy. They be showing you what time it is. So I don't know why you think politically it would be anything different. It don't matter right now. Look at the way they treating Shador. Like, come on, man. Y'all see what time it is? What make you think any group had your back? The only time they make you feel like they had your back is because they need you. Like the Civil War, right? The North needed you, right?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? They needed you to win that war. But we really didn't have no choice, though, at that time because the South wasn't trying to get brothers out of chains. So we really kind of didn't have no choice. Yeah, they stabbed us in the back, of course, but what was the option? What option did they have at that time? But now we know today every deal with anybody is shady. You should know that. You get what I'm saying? How much more history, how many more events need to keep taking place for you to understand what you're dealing with?
I like how you said that, Big E. Like people say, oh, the North rocked with the blacks. No, they needed us. They didn't care about us. They only brought us in because they needed us to win that war. Prior to that, the South was whipping that behind.
Man, and told the rest of the country, nigga, we don't need y'all. What we got going on is selling around the world. We don't know. We ain't letting these Negroes go.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So they show you and they give you remember Red Tails? You know, they give you glimpses of it in movies. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, they just do not want you to have the credit that you deserve. You know what I'm saying? We universally say Muhammad Ali is the greatest, but it's more than likely probably was Jack Johnson. Wasn't nobody beating Jack Johnson, and he was probably the most feared man during a very racially charged time. You know what I'm saying? The man even invented the wrench. They called it a monkey wrench, though, because he was in jail. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, come on, man. I mean, it is what it is. This is, you know, how much more history do you need to know what you're dealing with? But again, it's up to you to educate yourselves. You got to educate your kids. You get what I'm saying? You have to know who you dealing with. You know what I'm saying? You got too many people thinking that it's a kumbaya thing, but politically, nah, champ, everybody's sharks politically. A few personal relationships should not dictate your politics. You get what I'm saying? Politically, all groups is like, nah, F you Negroes. You know that. Y'all see that. No group votes along with our interests. You get what I'm saying? Matter of fact, they're trying to convince you to vote in their interests. You get what I'm saying? Nobody cares about your interests. So what did you think? This goes back centuries. Why wouldn't they sell you up to if that white man got their foot on their neck and they came at them with that deal? What I mean, you remember they made a whole movie. What was that? The Woman King, right? That the homie tribe. Wasn't they talking about that was the tribe who sold us out?
Yep.
Okay, see, so they put it out there. Now look, this is what I don't understand about the Africans. Y'all brag about how y'all sold us out, but then y'all over here talking about unity. What the hell? I mean, come on, what really? Come on, man. What are we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? You could praise movies like The Woman King. You could sit up here and say how y'all sold us out to them. You get what I'm saying? And then now that y'all butts is in a sling, it's unity. Why you don't want to be part of the diaspora? I mean, come on, man. Every chance y'all get to let us know that we ain't y'all do it. All right, so now we said, man, we cool. You right. Y'all are y'all and we us. Oh, xenophobia. Oh, y'all divisive. Oh, man, come on, man, stop it. Y'all gonna have something to say regardless, so we gonna do our own thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it seemed like y'all mad at. Politically, we did our own thing. I mean, if you really look at it, this is why we need to say, forget both of these groups. Because ever since the election, right, the left been crashing out because they lost. And then if you look at the quote, end quote, supposed civilized right, ever since Charlie Kirk's unaliving, they've been crashing out. All y'all crazy. You get what I'm saying? Over the last, 2-3 months since his unaliving, haven't these cats been out here rampaging? Come on, man. We seeing this. We ain't blind. None of this is good for us. You know what I'm saying? They mad because we standing on our own. Oh, well, y'all, nah, stop worrying about us, champ. We good on all y'all because we see none of y'all mean us no good, and we talking about politically. We ain't talking about your personal relationships. I don't care what it is. What else need to happen from a pop-out concert to sports? You get what I'm saying? To in the streets, to end politics. Y'all see what time it is. You know, that's exactly T-Fam. You know what I'm saying? So nobody has ever had your best interest. So why would you think these so-called Indian tribes would? They trying to get the foot out they butt.
Yeah. And they said, you know what? If we can get the white man to take his foot off of our neck, we'll capture these Negroes. And that's exactly what they did.
You get what I'm saying? So, you know, like, why wouldn't they? You know what I'm saying? You got to understand, especially back then, they was damming off all the water. They was killing up all the buffalo. They was doing what they did. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no democracy. They came over here and took it. Okay, well, look, you help us do this. This is what time it is. But see, they not going to teach you that in their educational system.
Right.
Because they need you blind to certain facts. You get what I'm saying? You have to teach your next generations what time it is, or else they ain't even gonna know who they dealing with. They ain't even gonna know what they dealing with. Now you got so-called Indians, they whiter than the whitest of white people talking about they native. Nah, champ, you lying. But see, they know how to manipulate that paperwork.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I'm saying? That's really all that it is. That's why that's another reason that they mad. Oh, well, people of color. No, we ain't handling that because people of color means everything that's not an American black. They're non-black black. That's what that means. You know what I'm saying? People of color is who getting all the benefits, not actual Black Americans. You see what I'm saying? See, we fell for that. We fell for the African American thing. We fell for the people of color thing. You get what I'm saying? For everybody to not care about us, everybody wants to label us. Everybody want to tell us who we are. Everybody want to tell us where we come from. Everybody want to tell us that we deportable. Everybody want to tell us, dude, why don't y'all worry about y'all? Because from what we see right now, the federal government is on y'all behinds. They ain't on us. They on y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all should have bigger issues. Y'all should have other worries than what we got going on. Y'all say we ain't got no power, but I don't know. Because every election that I know of is worried about the battleground states. That's where the highest concentration of Black people are, period.
Right.
So whose votes y'all think they really worried about? Even though they're telling you they're not important, but it's important enough to whoever wins those states wins the presidency. Right? So if the battleground states is you, then the pulse of the nation is you. You get what I'm saying? So now we dancing to the beat of our own drums, and now they don't know how to act. Constant fear mongering. That's all they doing. Y'all next. They gonna start doing this to you. Well, where y'all been? Y'all don't understand we've already been there, done that? Like, what are you talking about? It's just y'all turn. You know what I'm saying? But you have to educate your people onto this. It's your job to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I was telling y'all, this is all like a real vicious circle, but it's like I'm telling you, like how we was talking about before, Red, you got to get them YNs before they become old YNs, or else again, you can't blame the next generations for not knowing. How could he not know? How could he? Well, we didn't teach him. We didn't tell him. We didn't let them know what time it is. We didn't direct them. We didn't direct them to go get the information.
And the sad part about it is, when they 12 and 13 years old, you got cats in their 20s and 30s recruiting them into gangs.
Man, but check this out. How do you say you honor people like Malcolm X when Malcolm X told you do not trust the white liberal, but that same party is the party of Black people? Malcolm X would hate these cats today. You know what I'm saying? Because who the people even the black liberal is worse than the white one now, because they out here crashing out for these immigrants.
Yep,
They ain't out here crashing out for you.
Just like the Black conservative is worse than a white conservative.
Bruh, and you see it.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? So now that we like, nah, all of y'all watch out. Look at what everybody lying. I'm telling you, bro. I've been really have you been peeping these videos of these dudes that be thinking that they talking to these kids on the internet and they be busting them? Do you be seeing those videos?
I don't know if I seen them. Like, what happened?
Well, I'm saying it be dudes that be on, I guess, whatever the Grinder app is, and they be thinking they be talking to 12 and 13-year-old boys.
Oh.
And then when they go to meet them, it be dudes that like they were it was a setup. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
But what I'm saying, since Charlie Kirk was a stat guy, like 90% of those dudes be of his folks.
Yeah.
But they will never talk about those particular type of stats because they always got to keep us. You get what I'm saying? I mean,
you know what, Biggie? I'm glad you reminded me of that, because I didn't know what it was called, but I'm gonna do a whole series on that, on how these predators they're not people who look like us. Somebody tried to tell me, well, we not saying that whites don't commit crime, but you guys are Black men. That's what they say, because they said we're only 14% of the population, but most of the homicides are committed by men. So Black men, we're like 6% of the country. So they're saying 6% of the nation, which are Black men, are responsible for 56% of the homicides. I said, man, that's not, hell no, that's impossible. 6% of the population in America are responsible for 56% of the homicides, man, I don't believe that.
Nah, again, that's cap. And especially when we seen who's been crashing out, you know what I'm saying? Especially since Charlie Kirk's unaliving, bro, the cops in Pennsylvania. You get what I'm saying? Bro, it's been a whole lot. If you really been peeping what time it is, but again, they never wanted to talk about those particular stats. And if you notice, ever since ICE has been around and the Fed's been in them cities, you see how crime has been down, right? You notice how ever since, you know, all them immigrants been running and ducking and hiding, the crime ain't been like it's been, right? You see what I'm saying? So it's like I told you, when you share in the community, everything that they do, all of a sudden we gotta wear that jacket. Now that a whole lot of that has been shut down, look at the actual stats now.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, but we're not gonna get credit for that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, I don't know nowhere. I don't know no community where there's not going to be some type of crime. You get what I'm saying? There's going to be crime in all communities. I mean, you know, just come on, you know what happened to Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman? That happened in Brentwood. That is the richest. That's one of the richest parts of LA. Am I lying, Red?
Man, one of the richest.
Okay, and a double homicide took place up that way. You get what I'm saying? What up, Abdallah? So I'm just saying there is nowhere where it's just going to be crime free, but guess what? The whole media objective is just report on anything black. If we could take it and spin it and negatively, you know, and make black people look as bad as possible, then that's what we're going to do. It don't matter if the other person is the aggressor. We're going to make it look. I mean, again, we have several examples. The brick lady, the Alabama brawl, what happened in Cincinnati. This is stuff that was initiated by other people. All we did was defend ourselves, but look at how they spun that. You get what I'm saying? Even in politics, oh well, no, we ain't voting for Kamala. Oh well, y'all misogynistic. Y'all just hate women. It's like, well, damn, why can't it just be we don't align with her politics? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's always something. They're always going to spin it as negative as possible,
right,
when it comes to us.
Yeah.
So
man.
that's why it's like, dude, watch out, bro. We at this point we used to it. So whatever.
And
You
then
get what I'm
another
saying?
thing I noticed is this too, like Tiffany Cross and I forget who else was saying, oh, well, black men did this. They need to be riding with us. No, black men don't need to follow women. That's what happened. This is why the world is in sin, because Adam went against his teachings that he got from God, and he was influenced by a woman to make the wrong decision. He ate the forbidden fruit when God told him not to. And once he decided to be led by a woman, that led us to our own self-destruction. So when I seen Tiffany Cross and these black chicks saying, and this ain't no gender war content, but what black women got to understand is it ain't our job as men to get in line with y'all. It is y'all job to get in line with us. And until black women understand that, you're going to continue to, it's not our job to follow our women, because we already know. Look at the Bible. Look at what happened in the beginning of time. When a man decided to follow a woman, you seen what happened. You know, it led to a whole lot of other things. So men ain't got no damn business following a women. What the hell you mean that we need to get in line with the women and support them and their the fact that they're on a Democratic plantation? Listen, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a liberal. Blacks need to become independent thinkers, because right wing, left wing, these feathers come from the same bird. Until we learn that, I don't see us making no progress, because I'm tired of black people talking this liberal stuff, this conservative, this Democrat, Republican. Neither one of these parties have our best interests in mind. And I'm gonna let my man Big E land with that.
Yeah, but that's a fact though. You know what I mean? But again, see, you know, it's like, okay, I'm going to say the black women that's in politics. Okay, not the black women as a whole, ladies. So I'm not talking about as a whole. I'm talking about the ones in politics. They are clearly a compromised group of women. Okay, they have clearly sold out to the system. Okay, why would we want to follow that? You get what I'm saying? If you're already compromised, what good does it do us to follow you? You get what I mean? I mean, it's like, okay, oh, well, y'all should get behind Kamala. Why? She was a prosecutor that mainly got her 90+% conviction rate because she went after people that look like us. So make it make sense to me that I would actually vote for a woman to have the highest power in the land, and she is a prosecutor at heart. She could have prosecuted them cops that unalived Martrice Richardson, but she didn't. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it didn't make no sense to vote for that. Look at what's going on with Letitia James. I don't feel sorry for her. That woman was a prosecutor. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel sorry for Fannie Willis. That woman is a prosecutor. Who do you think they went after? They didn't get their record by going after people that look like them. They got their record going after people that look like you. So why would you support people whose job it was to lock you up when they bust getting the sling now? You get what I'm saying? So it's like, dude, we gotta break this spell. So to just say, oh, well, those are black women, no, those are compromised black women. All of them. You don't even hear nothing about Tiffany Henry no more. That was a compromised black woman. You get what I'm saying? Look at them. None of these women, when they got power, they acted just like corrupt white men.
Bonnie Willis.
All of them. They acted just like corrupt white men. They did not do right by none of the people that put them there. You get what I'm saying? So this is what I'm saying, ladies. Don't let them tell y'all, you know, y'all, it's like y'all personalize. Like, okay, for example, when Harris won the VP, right? Y'all thought that she was going to give that Senate seat to a black woman, and guess what she did? Smack you dead across your mouth and gave it to Alex Padilla. You know what I'm saying? Before she went out the door, she could have did something for the black women who raised $2 billion. You get what I'm saying? See, y'all got to get out of y'all feelings. I'm not saying that we all supposed to be liking no Donald Trump, but y'all really voted for a woman who blew through $2 billion in 3 months and can't tell you what she did with it. And yet she was supposed to balance the economy? Are you serious? I mean, come on, does this make sense to y'all? We know Trump is rich, but old girl blew through $2 billion in 3 months. In 3 months. What did y'all get out of that? Y'all bragged about, dude, y'all, we did this, we did that. But what did you get out of that? You didn't get nothing. Y'all tried to give her some kind of award. She didn't even want to show up for y'all after she lost. So you see, you can't get mad at us for saying, nah, we cool on all of that. Right, facts over feelings. This is what I'm saying. That's all they do is just get us in our feelings, and then we want to vote for them. And it's like, yeah, but okay, when they was in power, they had 4 years to do something for you. They had 4 years. Don't get to hollering about 47 now. What about the previous 4 years? You get what I'm saying? So, you know, right now, look, forget your feelings. We saw what y'all did for all of them immigrants. Before you could even come knocking my door, you already got to have your checkbook out before you even talking about you, especially you guys, particularly you Democrats. If you are not willing to do for us what we are literally watching y'all do for them, Karen Bass is giving up 30 racks for displaced illegal families. Y'all, we all know everything they was getting. So if we ain't getting minimum that, don't even come knocking on my door, champ. You know what I'm saying? If we can't get that, if y'all still out here hollering about identity politics while everybody else was getting guap chipped off housing, jobs, all kind of stuff off your dime, well then y'all some special kind of fools. Real talk.
Well,
Why would
Biggie,
you even do that?
we gonna land with that one, bro, man. I definitely appreciate you pulling up and sharing your knowledge and information. You know, most definitely, you always add value to the content because your knowledge and wisdom is highly appreciated, bro. You know?
Oh, it's all good, Red. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, but I'm saying I'm regular people like everybody else. We up in here chopping it up. You get what I'm saying? But it's like, come on, y'all. We can't keep falling for the same stuff, is all that I'm saying. Like every 4 years, it's the same thing. Every 4 years, even right now, look at just the constant fear mongering. Just the constant, everybody is picking and nagging and got a gripe with us. You get what I'm saying? It's the same thing, bro. We used to it. Like I think it was Scoop said it. Somebody, man, if you ain't built for this shit, you can see the ones who ain't built for it. I mean,
Yeah.
built for this stuff. You can see the ones that's tap dancing online who really ain't built for the real work. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm gonna land with that. You know, I'm gonna enjoy my off day. Y'all enjoy y'all day. Drink y'all water. Eat y'all veggies, and by all means, keep winning.
Shout out to Big E, man, and I appreciate Big E for pulling up, man. Shout out to T Fam. He said Big E is right. We need our own political party. Also, make the politicians sign a legal contract having to liable if they don't complete a certain percentage of our needs. Right. So shout out to you, man. I appreciate